Like, why pay? Why let Food
And
Network
we are
do it?
live.
Wait, let's just do a time check really
Okay.
quick. 6:13.
6:13, guys. Look, we're 13 minutes late today. We are a little bit late, but we are officially live. We are on T's camera. Here goes bro. All right, welcome, bro. And here's me. What's up? All right. And then there's T's camera. What's up, T, our special guest? Well, let's go ahead and open this up. Welcome. We are live, No Luck's Giving podcast. My co-host, Brother Luck, on
What's
the
happening?
show. My name is Dana Keith. And then we have T in the building.
Hey.
We call her T. That's Tina. That's bro's wife. And I'm excited to have you on the show, personally, because you add so much humor to my life. People don't know that T is all the jokes behind the scenes. But look, man, let's open this up, brother. We have a lot to talk about. Go ahead and give our people on the podcast an update because we are here back in the studio.
Yes.
And we're still under construction, which is pretty exciting.
No,
but we
I-
have more progress.
I-
Talk about it. And I'm going to change our audios, make sure they're up.
No, that sounds so
sounds
much better.
Got you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Where's my snare?
Hey, hold
Where's
on.
my snare?
I could do something, but I don't want to hit the wrong button.
All right. So
Turn it all
this
off.
week has been absolutely madness. Not only are we running 2 restaurants, we're building a patio, right? Tina's running the world.
Right.
And we're also putting together this space. So last week we were in here. I think we had just got the framing up. I think that's kind of where we had left off.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had all the drywall pretty much go up. They're patching. They're getting things going. We've had the electrician in here, so he's running all the clean conduit, cleaning everything up, making sure everything's safe. We've purchased light fixtures for in this space for the kitchen. We bought cabinets for all of the space, so the cabinets are here now. We got countertops, so the countertops are here. There's a whole fiasco on that. I haven't even told Tina about this part, so this will be fun to watch it on camera.
Yeah. We should get her reaction, huh?
Yeah, so we picked up a sink. We got a vanity. The vanity was like 300 pounds because of the heavy top on it. So that was a monster trying to get this up the staircase.
It's just the wrong one, probably.
Okay.
And oh man, what else? Let's see. Painter starts on Monday.
You got drywall. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yep,
we have
yep.
walls. I walked in the building.
Walls.
We have
a
walls.
toilet that actually is still working. That's a great piece.
Yep.
Did it stop working at some point?
Well, we had to call the plumber,
brand new.
and there was some leaks, and we had to fix that part.
Everything's a process. Everything.
I love how you guys church it up. I'm like, you probably hit something when you were demoing in there.
No.
I think maybe.
Do you think so, y'all? Who thinks that's true? I don't
just feel
know.
like when he went to culinary school, I don't remember like the project management construction class.
Me either.
Not that I don't have faith in you. You do a good job.
All
saying.
right. Give him
You
kudos.
definitely came in here with the sledgehammer, though.
Yeah.
I do. We have to. All right, that's a task because we've talked about it on the podcast. That's being released in slow motion tomorrow.
Yeah.
Demolition podcast slow mo tomorrow.
I broke that sledgehammer.
I believe it.
I
Actually.
did.
Do you know
I
that
totally splintered
I
the
call him
sledgehammer.
Shrek at home.
Shrek?
How
come?
Because he breaks stuff. He runs into things. He's put like holes in drywall.
I'm really
with
good
his
at
shoulder.
repairing it though.
Because you've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Just tearing it down from downstairs and up here.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
incredible.
Shoulders.
Yeah, it's been madness, but this thing's coming together. I'm so excited. We're probably still a month out. That's my guess right now. I think it's gonna look amazing once the paint goes on the walls next week and the lighting's in here. And they should be done with the drywall tomorrow, so I think we'll be able to start cleaning this thing up and getting all this dust out of here, and then putting things where they need to go, which is the exciting part. But yeah, this has been a lot of work. Oh, and then we have our patio that we built over here. At Lucky
Let's talk
Dumpling.
about the patio. That was a great day. Oh my bad. I keep forgetting to change the camera when I talk. But let's talk about the patio. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so we told the story of when COVID first started and we lost indoor dining. We had to figure something out. So outdoor seating was the primary concern. So my general manager and I at the time literally came out here with YouTube and some power tools.
We kind of talked about it last week.
Yeah.
And let me just throw this in there because we're talking about they rebuilt. Oh, the camera. My bad. Thanks, bro, man. You reminded me. Look, that's what I need my co-host for. All right. So look, we were talking about the rebuild of the patio. Yep. All right. And there was one sad moment that I had. Okay, which is, to be honest, is that it's now gray and you no longer see my staining because I did the staining.
You did. So Dana did stain the entire thing out there with Nick. But yeah, no, we shared this story of building this patio, having no idea what we were doing, fabricating the wood, YouTubing how to anchor these things into the concrete, finding the bolts, finding the plates. Putting it up, getting it licensed for liquor, getting it zoned, going to court, modifying our liquor license for the state. And we got it up and it was nice. It was okay. It worked. But I told this story to a program here in town called HB Cares. And
HBA Cares.
Yep. And they've done amazing things. That's the Home Builders Association. They've done amazing things here in town. They built all these little parklets outside of the restaurants on downtown on Tejon. I think a lot of people don't know what a parklet is. Tina?
I did not know what a parklet was. I had to Google it, and then I had to drive down Tejon to find out what it actually was. But typically they go in a parking spot, right? It's not normally a permanent structure. So we're lucky that we're on the concrete and we're permanent now. So
that's really cool.
I think the right term would be pergola or gazebo for us.
I don't know. You kept calling it a parklet, so I went with it. I committed. I thought, you know what? Sure.
So we told this story to some of the contacts from the HBA Cares, and they said, you know what, Chef, we want to help you. So we're having this conversation, and then in the midst of all that, all of our heaters and our propane get stolen. So you just can't win. So they said, we're going to find a contractor to come out. They're going to volunteer their time. We're going to help with the labor. We want to help. We'll help build this thing properly. So we built this gorgeous structure. We put it out on our social media. We asked for volunteers from the community. We had, 25, 30 people show up on Saturday, which was so special.
It was overwhelming. Like just as we fed everybody lunch after they were working all morning, and I sat with a group of ladies and I said, so how do you guys all know each other? And they said, we don't. Yeah. So no one knew each other. They just came out and helped and hopefully made some friendships and connected with people. But really, it was overwhelming. You got emotional a couple times and had to kind of walk away.
Yeah.
Like it's cool to see a community come together and support like this. It's just there's still good people in the world.
Yeah, I really felt the love. That was special. It was really special. And I'm so grateful to this community for everything they do. You could feel every bit of that on Saturday. So we built this great structure. Looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then yesterday.
Oh, you're gonna tell that story.
Because it all happened within this last week.
72 hours.
Yeah. Within 72 hours. I can't make this up.
Literally, it was, I came back the next day because it was, what was it, a holiday or something? Oh, Easter.
Yep,
it was
Easter on Sunday.
It was Easter day, so I came in the morning to film with the drone, right? So I'm filming with the drone, Easter morning, looks great. I was like, oh, this is hype. So then today, brother tells me that.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and tell the story.
So I'm driving in yesterday. It's like 9 a.m, and I get a text message from one of the team members, and it's like, "Hey, Chef, the delivery driver just drove into our brand new patio."
Can I back that up?
Go ahead.
So that morning, it was yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning.
It was like 10 days ago already. So yesterday morning, it was kind of one of those, like, we were up and running. And usually I'm out of bed pretty early because I'm like kind of 8 to 5.
Yeah.
9 to 6, 8 to 8. I don't know anymore. And brother gets up and he's like, I got to go. I got stuff to do. And he's like calling off all these things he has to do. And he's like moving 100 miles an hour. He runs out the door. And I get like 3 pictures text to me.
Oh no!
And it's all the wood from the top is just in the floor, basically, right? It's on the floor. And but you reached back out to HBA, and what did they do for you?
No, tomorrow they're coming out. We're all gonna rebuild it over here at Lucky around noon. Thankfully we had some of the material.
Really?
Yeah. So we had some of the
We're
material
stuff.
We're gonna build it twice.
It's so nice. We made it twice.
I'm gonna market that. So yeah, thankfully we had all this we had all this extra wood left over from Saturday, so it's just enough material to redo it. But what happened is normally our delivery drivers park in the middle of the intersection in the island in the suicide lane, and then they just take their dollies and wheel them across the street and come in the front door. For some strange reason, he parked in front of the turning lane and blocked it, and his truck actually caught just a very tight 2-3 inches worth of that wood, which once it hit the truck,
that pulled another.
Yeah, and it just ripped.
We kept driving.
Yeah.
What?
So it took a few of those out. So
I don't think he realized he hit it at first because there's just no way that you could have kept going. And it's like he probably was like, "Oh, what's that sound?" I don't know for sure, but
I've got it on security camera.
He stopped though. He did.
We should release that.
No,
I'm just kidding.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, he did the right thing. He stopped. He called or came in and said, "Sorry, I broke your patio that you just."
Yeah, but it's just like when I shared these pictures, I was like, I can't make this up. Like
I said that. I literally go, "Okay, God, what else? You gonna throw something else at me today?"
What an interesting story, because it took so many people to come together at that time to build it, and within so fast that you see that
72 hours
being torn.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the most important parts of that whole scenario is that kind of summarizes what we've experienced over this last year. Is
persistence.
You can't look into next week or into tomorrow. You kind of just have to focus on today.
Yeah.
And I think when the pandemic first started for us back in March.
Yeah, this is a good bleed right into it.
And we got this notification. I mean, I remember Tina saying, "Hey, our work's shutting down for the next couple weeks," and I was like, "Oh, that's never going to happen to our restaurant industry." And they shut down. I mean, you guys shut down 2-3 weeks before the country did. I remember getting word that we had to close indoor dining and telling our entire staff, "I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. We have to close the doors, and I don't know what to do."
That was a hard day. Brother had to come in and basically lay off, 50 people.
And not in person. People. I mean, we didn't even do it on Zoom. We didn't even know how to use Zoom at that time. Right. I created a Instagram profile and had all of our staff follow that one profile to do an Instagram live to tell them all at once, because we didn't understand how to stream or use these different platforms. And then reach out to the ones that couldn't get on there personally. But I mean, this was probably 40-50 people at that time. And it was just because we were so unprepared. I mean, we didn't know what to do.
I mean, I think, how do you prepare for
something how
like
do
that?
You prepare? I don't think that you can be prepared for it. So let's talk about it. I think that bleeds right into the conversation that we really want to have today, which is talking about the struggle and the impact that COVID has had on everybody. And we want to obviously hear from a small business perspective, but I think it's really interesting to have T on today to be able to tell a side of the story that maybe, that Chef was going through that Chef wouldn't even tell us, honestly, but also that she knows behind the scenes, which I think that is really interesting. So let's kind of open it up to that. Like, let's talk about the struggles and the impact that COVID has had on you guys as a small business, as a family, and as business owners. So I'll go ahead and open it up to you, T.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was real, right? So you're in it, and it's moving kind of fast, but it felt very slow, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
Information wasn't coming out as fast as we would have hoped it would have. And it was kind of one of those moments where we didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring, And so I think the emotional piece there was, we support a lot of families, our team members, right? That's paychecks that we give to people, and that's a heavy kind of burden. And so when that pulled back, that crushed you. I remember talking to you the day that you had to lay people off, and it was like, I mean, tears. I think you admit now, though, like crocodile tears. Like, he was upset, and it was completely out of his control. And then I think you marinate in that a little bit, and then it's like, man, I started this business 7 years ago, and this is going to take me out.
Right.
Like, there was that feeling of like, wow, a lot of restaurants don't survive more than a year or two. And so to be in the game kind of as long as you had been at that point, or that we had been, I always give you all the credit. I just do this behind the scenes.
Yeah. So what people don't know is T is co-owner of the business. So she is just as much as ownership in the business as brother.
Tina's the boss.
And she is really the boss.
I am her assistant.
Yeah, you say that now. But when I'm like, where's the budget? He's all, I don't know. Like looking around. I'm like, no. Like for this project in the studio, we're sitting in here, right?
Yeah.
And so,
oh, this is good. This is
says,
good. Get bro's camera.
Yeah, he said, T, we're going to expand. I said, during a pandemic?
Yeah.
And then he said, yes. I said, okay, well, prayed on it. I said, what do you think it's going to take? He's like, oh, we're going to get in there. It's going to be lipstick on a pig, which is something I think he actually has learned from my industry, unfortunately, that term. And so I said, no way is this going to be lipstick on a pig. This is a big undertaking. They used to smoke in here. Like it was a
420 members smoke shop.
And I think tobacco was allowed too. Makes sense, right? And I'm like, just pulling down, like getting the smell out is going to cost you 10 grand.
Yeah.
So he gets in here and he's like, hey, so I pulled up all the floors, knocked down all the walls, and the subfloor needs repair. I said, so where's the lipstick?
No, I did a full,
Anyway.
Maybelline commercial.
I digress.
Yeah.
So going back to like kind of COVID, that initial kind of piece was tough. Him and another person at the time, we shut down both restaurants. When we were allowed to do curbside, which came kind of a week or so later, shut down 4, came all the way to Lucky, and just banged all the food we had. Everything that we had that was in inventory, we sold everything on curbside. And then they allowed curbside alcohol, and then we actually closed for 2 full weeks.
Wow.
I think it was in that 2 weeks where you said, we got to figure this out, right?
Yeah.
He said, how are we going to, what can we do? Can we teach classes? Like, you were starting to get really excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to take your thunder on that piece in case, but you were thinking, outside of the box, how do we generate revenue? How do we potentially bring people back? But it didn't happen fast, right? That was probably 6 weeks in, maybe 7 weeks in.
Yeah, no, it's surreal to hear that perspective, because I don't think about it like that, but that's exactly what happened is, the first, after the staff, and we knew we couldn't do indoor dining. I mean, we weren't set up to do to-go service or curbside service. That's not the type of restaurants that we were set up. No one was, for that matter. But all I knew is we had a lot of beautiful product. We had gorgeous vegetables. We had amazing pieces of protein. We had all these gorgeous things that we needed to sell before they went bad, because there's only so much you could freeze.
Right.
So that was the first priority, was like, let's get rid of this product and try to get whatever we can for it. And then the alcohol curbside was allowed to go, allowed. We started doing that. I mean, we were writing menus every day. We were working like nonstop.
But that first 3 weeks, and I don't know that a lot of people know this piece, but it was just him and one other person. Mm-hmm. And so they literally would come in at 7 or 8 in the morning and take stock of what was there.
Right.
And then write the menu and then stay here all day and bang food until we sold out of food, or it was 9 o'clock, whatever came first.
Yeah.
And so at some point, even I was in here taking phone orders and trying to help. So I would, get off work and come down here. And we slowly started, I think some of our team members were like, what am I going to do? Just sit at home? So they even came in
started helping.
And volunteered and helped us. And it was really, again, amazing just to watch people come together and kind of support, right?
Yeah, the friends, the family, the team members, everyone who came down during that first 3 week period to help us just fight.
Yeah,
100%.
Because that's all. That's
the right word.
It was fight or flight. I mean, it was really the raw reaction. But the hardest part for me wasn't the work. I mean, the hours don't bother me. That's just how I'm built.
Face when he said that. Go ahead.
Hey, don't worry about anything. I'll take care of the rest of everything.
But it was a matter of building some type of just confidence to fight more and more. And honestly, there were so many people that were walking in the door, and they'd be like, "Man, here's $100."
Yeah.
Really?
It's all I got, but I just wish you the best. And I'd lose it. I'd just start crying on the middle of the restaurant. I'm trying to hold it together, and I've got 15 to-go orders that I'm putting out, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Plus, we're getting phone calls for essential workers who need food, and we're doing all these different things. And then someone just hits you with an emotional, how are you? And you're like,
oh, don't steal my stuff. Yeah.
I mean, but it was exactly that. It was people were coming in and just hitting such triggers to cause emotional responses. And because it was so raw, the emotion was so raw at that time.
Well, yeah, people would spend like $15, right? Hey, and we were doing bacon jam burgers out of Lucky Dumpling, which is weird, but it's a pandemic, right? So
100%.
Whatever we could sell, we were selling. And so you come in and buy a burger and pay with $100 and leave the rest for the team.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And we literally, the people who started coming in and like volunteering, we were able to like tip them out for the day, right? So they were getting some kind of cash before unemployment, like that. Remember, all that took
that means
a
a lot. Yeah.
You know, like they didn't just go, okay, you're shut down, go get unemployment. I mean, those pieces didn't come in
They took weeks.
play as fast as you think you should when you're talking about somebody's livelihood. So it was really special that people gave so much extra money that we could pay people with cash.
Well, and the hard part too was the fear of like, we're out here working in front of everyone in something we don't know anything about. Right. It's just everyone's shut down. Everyone's staying at home, but we're showing up every single day and
still working,
engaging with people. I mean, trying to sanitize everything we could and just being as on top of it as we could. It was so scary at that time. And
it was.
I think after that 3-week period where once all the product was pretty much empty and, there was such a shutdown when it came to food distribution, there was no food at Shamrock. There was no food from the farmers. That like everything was crazy. Gone. Mm-hmm. Like everything had stopped because everyone had stopped working. That's when we said, you know what, we're going to close for the next couple weeks and just regroup.
So this is where he got very excited, and he was like, okay, Tina, we're going to have date night next Thursday.
Oh, my God. This is such a good story. Let's tell it.
And I was like, oh, my gosh, we don't ever get date night. Like, we're on opposite schedules. I am like a Monday through Friday, again, 9 to 6, 8 to 8, whatever that looks like for me. And he is very much usually like a 10 to 10 guy, right? And we try to protect Sunday to have like a day together.
Yeah. So that's good for you guys.
We're getting date night. I was so excited.
Date night on Thursdays?
He goes, yeah, we're going to cook live on Facebook. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, are you sure this is date night? I feel like you might have just hustled me like really bad. So the first class, I hadn't got it yet, right?
Yeah.
I was like, we're having date night. It's going to be so cool. He's like, okay, great. We're going to go live on Facebook. And I feel like we did kits, but I can't. Now I'm like, it all runs together a little bit.
No, we did. Yeah, we did kits.
So we sold the kits, and I think it was like 65 people bought kits. And
Bacon jam burgers.
Is that the first class we did?
I think so.
I can't remember, but so we get home, and he sets up the iPhone.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was even your Mac at that point.
It was the Mac.
It was just
first
the
day.
Mac.
First
and
day.
I joined on my iPad, and I sat at the kitchen counter, and I just chatted to people. Like, I'm like, if you have questions, I'm answering them in the chats. And it happened really organically, right? I was like, well, I'm going to log in and check it out. Well, then that turned into me, like, holding the computer up and, like, can you guys see this? These knife skills? And I'm like, I've got it, like, sideways, and it's all shaky. And I was like, well, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
People seemed like they were happy. And there's a moment in a cooking class, every cooking class, where everything's coming together and it's like just about to be done.
Yeah.
Everybody panics. They're like, wait, what? What do you say? What do I do? Do I put it in the oven? I take it out of the oven? Chop the carrot? Like, there are like a slurry of questions come in. So I do kind of what you do here, and I was facilitating. Hey, brother, so tell me again about that carrot, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So like the next week we did another one. So these cooking classes are date nights, right?
Right.
Hey, T, you want to have a date night again? I'm like, what? So then he gets all these extra cameras. He's got me. I was sitting there. I'm trying to click. I'm like, what do I push? I don't even know what to push. He's like, and then people are like, Tina, we can't hear you. It's not as funny without you. And I'm like, oh God, I'm a whack job. They think I'm hilarious because I don't cook either, right? And
yeah.
So you watch him, he's like sticking his hand in boiling water. And I'm like, guys, don't do that at home. It's going to hurt.
Right.
So yeah, I got hustled into date nights that were actually me working.
Yeah. I think it's important to note that the most important part of that story is that it started as date night.
He tricked me.
I didn't trick you.
He's like, look, we're going to cook together. It's going to be so great and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm not cooking with you. What are you talking about? Hey, our personalities don't always mesh up if like he's trying to show me something in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I have some insecurities about not being a great cook. I do a lot of other things pretty good, right?
Right.
So I usually just get out of the way.
So just to put this in perspective, because what you naturally fulfilled the position of was the moderator,
right?
In which the people love you, T. So because, like you said, you're not necessarily the professional chef to translate it for the people who are through the, TV screen or computer for that is you translate in English to them and you're like, hey, that's a great question. Thank you. I've been saying that, but they can't hear me type thing. Right. But just to bring it back to the pandemic, that these classes started out as a creative way to create more income for the team, the staff during a pandemic. Right. Talk about that, because that's so critical.
No, the classes started definitely, the kits started with that, because the kits created hours, right? They had to bring the product in, they had to fabricate the product, they had to measure the product, they had to label it, they had to package it. They had to do a lot of those pieces. So it created work for a lot of the team members at 4, because Lucky was still able to continue to be curbside. It was kind of built.
After about 3 weeks, right?
After about 3 weeks. But we had started doing commercials. I think we were doing the Stella Artois commercial.
Yep.
And that's when we kind of realized, like, hey, we can create an entire studio in my kitchen.
In the home.
And, when we worked with the team, I think they were all in Los Angeles, and we were filming in my kitchen.
That was so dope. That was my first time.
Yeah, we pulled that off, and it just kind of gave me confidence during that 3-week break, where it's like, you know what? We can do this.
Right.
So we started doing these classes. We started researching, and then once we watched one video, we were like, okay, we got to fix the quality. We got to fix the sound.
Right.
It was then a YouTube.
I didn't think that at all. I was like, what a fun date night.
What a fun date night.
I was like, that was so great. And then in the background, what's happening is he's like, I'm gonna get all this equipment. We're gonna do this cool stuff.
Yeah.
And here I'm thinking, like, Thursday's coming. It's date night.
Date night again.
And then he's got 3 things set up and all this. I'm like, wait a minute. I just want to say one more time, like, you totally.
You start calling yourself a producer.
I did.
You are a producer.
Yes.
Heck, if you're using OBS, which is what we're using now, like, you know a lot of the things that goes into creating the production. So you're a producer.
All right, I'll take it.
All right, T, you're a producer.
So, I mean, but
I feel like it's thin, but I'll take it.
But we were the most amazing part about the classes is what it triggered. For one, it dropped a wall with our fans, the people who support us, our community. It dropped a wall for us personally, and invited people into our house.
Yeah.
And I think they got to see a side of us,
a different side
you don't normally see in the restaurants.
Well, I know you got to see that, Dana.
What's that for me?
Yeah, because you always get to see before we push play.
Oh yeah.
When it's like, what are you
It's
doing?
madness. Yeah, Facebook got a little bit of that today when we were doing the live here. It's always madness trying to push start, because you're trying to get everything together and you're trying to figure it all out.
And I'm like just ending my work day, right? So I'm trying to end my work day and then get into producer
Get right
mode.
into producer mode.
And I'm like, did you charge your iPad? And he's like,
oh,
no, I didn't.
No, I'm going to unscrew that light.
Did you charge your iPhone? Because aren't you going to film on that? And he's like, oh, dang.
Where's the duct tape?
I'm like, how are you not thinking about this 3 minutes before we go live? Like, it's stressing me out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, gosh.
We need headphones. And then, you make last minute changes, so it messes everything
up.
I don't know about you make last minute changes.
I do. I did it to Dana today. I was like, Dana,
look,
we should move to the internet.
I had everything set up.
6:13.
I had everything set up way earlier. 5:30, I was set up, ready to go.
But it was really special because I thought the bacon jam burger was like the second or third class we did. Because I remember the first class we sold 65 kits. And
it was a poppers.
But it was a meal because we actually brought 3 or 4 people in to prep, and so they got hours, right?
Yeah.
So some of our cooks came in and made the kits for people. And then the second or third class was the bacon jam burger, and that's still the one we sold the most of. It was
bacon jam was the
126 people, I think, bought the kit, and the kit was serving 4 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt so much pressure. So people would chat in and be like, hey, I didn't get any salt. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Do you have salt at your house? Like, yeah. Sorry, guys. And then, so it'd be something weird like, I didn't get any tarragon. And I'm like, what can we substitute tarragon for? Someone?
Yeah.
It was always something.
There was always something that
always
was happening. During the class.
So if you're listening right now and you were missing your tarragon, we apologize.
So thank goodness when it was salt, like most people, or like the oil would be missing. And I'm like, oh, I don't have oil. I'm like, do you have butter?
Yeah.
So I'm like chatting in, and I'm like, I'm so sorry that we missed that. People were so gracious, though. I think, they were so supportive, and we talked a lot about the kids giving hours to our team, and I think even people were There were more. They wanted to. Can we tip on the kids? Can we?
Yeah.
Can we give extra? People
Right.
were so giving, and it made the difference. I mean, that's
It
how
really did.
we changed our whole business. Lucky went curbside only, right? And
Right.
4 became cooking classes.
Yeah.
Right.
And to think, to pivot that quickly and still be here a year later is pretty phenomenal.
Well, and the thing too is after we made that call with the entire staff of saying, hey, we have to close down March 15th. Sorry, guys. We don't know what to do. And then you think about the 2-3 weeks of us cooking a burnout product and then taking the 2 weeks just to regroup. After that, we rehired everyone that was willing to come back. I mean, once we started moving, we didn't go back to laying people off. We never had another layoff.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I'm very proud of. We created hours for everyone, whether it was, cleaning, painting, sidewalk,
awesome.
chalk art,
Yeah.
interviews. I mean, the video you did with the
Yeah.
staff
That's a big deal.
reached the senator's office today,
Which was beautiful.
and we got to talk about, something that we did during that time. I mean, but that was work for us. We did
Right.
whatever we could to keep the staff moving. And, we also took advantage of utilizing our resources when it came to grants, when it came to our accounting team and ensuring that we were applying for things in the right way, working with our bankers. It kept all of the staff working, and we haven't had another layoff since that very first one, which is surreal. I mean,
I think what that says a lot about is not only the creativity that you had and the business savvy to make that quick decision, but it says a lot about the community supporting.
Yeah.
Coming together
Absolutely.
in a time like that, to be able to support and be the anchor to you guys. I think it does say a lot.
yeah, one of the most important parts that I was very intentional about during that time was utilizing social media to share the journey.
Yeah.
Right? The pain, the struggle, the frustration, the joy, right? The satisfaction, everything was put on display. And I think that helped our community understand, because I didn't want people to assume.
I think, and this is something, and I'll let you keep going, but this is something that just popped in my mind is I remember you had this very vulnerable post.
Video.
It was a video. You were in your restaurant. I cried. I ain't gonna
I
front.
cried.
Like
I
I cried.
Everybody cried.
But you made this video that really was vulnerable, open, and true. It was so honest. But
Yeah.
but the community,
The news ran that 2 days later. Do you remember?
yeah.
The
But
news picked that video up, and they were like restaurateurs. And I remember seeing that video because he's almost in tears in the video, right? And
Right.
he is being so open and vulnerable. And typically our posts have been more like food and fun and things. And so I think
Right.
people actually got a chance to see the other side of you, really.
Yeah.
And you're very authentic on social media, so I don't want to take away from that. But it was a moment that you normally wouldn't video.
you wouldn't
right?
show,
I
right?
wouldn't normally
Especially
share that, yeah.
Right.
when we're all going through that together.
Yeah, and that was real. That was honest, and I was so glad that circulated as well as it did, because I was speaking on behalf of not just myself, but of an entire industry. I mean, there were so many people that didn't have that platform to say that.
Right.
Right? This sucks.
That felt the same pain.
I didn't do anything wrong,
Yeah.
and I've worked too hard to let my businesses die,
Right.
and I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss for words right now. And it was a lot of emotion, but we were able to persevere through that.
Yeah, talk about that as a team, because you guys are a team. Talk about that perseverance as a unit together as
Sure.
business owners. I think that's
Sure,
important.
I think that first couple days, I mean, it was so up and down. Like, so you saw that video, right? And you're very raw in that video and vulnerable. We cried together on the couch a couple nights in a row.
Yeah.
We drank together a couple of nights in
We
a
drank a
row.
lot.
Yeah.
7 or 8 nights in a row. Times 45 days or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then really it's like that moment where you go, it's like make or break, or, you're going to run or you're going to fight.
Right.
And I think the date night thing, even though it was very organic and how it happened, just the thought process of going, what can I do to stay? What can we do? And then me in the background, how can I support? And I'm a doer. I want to get in and help, and I can't always do that, right? I don't have
Yeah.
the capacity in my work life to do that. But man, if there is a place where I can, I do. And so that was one of those places where we had to just we had to communicate. I mean, you have to just keep that line of communication going, so there's no assumptions or misunderstandings or where you're going to be in 12-hour days, times 6 days a week, and then you have a home life too. We just buckled down and got it done. I mean, that's all I can say. And it's like, it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, it's not going to beat us. And if it does, we went down swinging.
Right. And together. So just to feed off of that, talk about that, because, the support system for a business owner is the backbone. Like, it's incredible to see how much further you can go with another half. So talk about, how do you support brother, not only through a pandemic, but as he continues to try to strive forward and have persistence and determination and pride within his business? How do you be that support system?
Well, sure. I think a lot of the times I'm excuse me, it's so dusty in here. I apologize. A lot of the times.
That's funny.
It's real dusty.
Brother said you were going to say that.
It is.
Real quick.
It's like my eyes itch. A lot of the times I think that I'm a sounding board. Right? So sometimes it really is.
Tell me what that means.
Like, he has to come home and just dump it somewhere.
Okay.
And you can't do that to your team members, right?
Right.
And so a lot of times I think that I fulfill a role for him where he can say anything, and it's in a safe space, right?
Right.
How he's feeling, what happened in the day, what went really wrong, things that you don't necessarily want to say to your team members, right?
100%.
You want to keep your team motivated. So I think
be positive, right?
Yeah, I think I fulfill, like kind of the sounding board piece. And then in that moment, I mean, we had stacks of bills. I mean, this big. Yeah. Everything in restaurants is in arrears. So you buy the food, right?
Right.
You sell the food, but your bill is due within 7 to 15 days, call it. So we hadn't got to that selling point before we had all the invoices. So I remember sitting and creating some spreadsheets and like really just saying, what's our debt look like right now and who's not getting paid, right? And so I did a lot of that behind the scenes accounting stuff just to say, I mean, he was like, we have to pay everybody. I'm like, well, we have no dollars, so hold please. People are going to understand, right? And people were very understanding, but we chipped away at it and we got everybody taken care of. Again, doing the curbside and the classes and stuff. But I feel like that. I mean, you can share more than that. I feel like I'm a good sounding board for you, though.
The soundboard piece is so important because
it is.
The one thing I think we've learned as a couple is that we're both problem solvers. Right? Especially in our jobs and our everyday jobs. We're both problem solvers. So when we hear a problem, we immediately want to solve it.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing that we've learned about each other is to not solve sometimes, to just listen.
Problem.
Or we'll go like this, hey, I don't need you to fix this, but I want to just say it.
That's good.
And that's just good communication over the years. That's 20 years in, right? We didn't figure that out on day one.
Sure.
As a couple. Now I can go, I don't need the white knight. I just need to like word vomit all this, how I'm feeling. And then someone to go, God, yeah, that kind of did suck. Right?
Yeah.
So we're pretty good at that.
Yeah, that was a game changer for us, is learning how to separate our roles in our jobs to better suit our roles within our relationship.
Sure.
So we're not trying to be the same exact role that we are every day from, the 9 to 5 or the 10 to 10. It's literally changing that mindset to be like, you know what? I hear you. I'm not in charge right now. I just need to be a listener for you. So I think that's been a key piece for us.
And then really learning when to say no. Sometimes sometimes it's like, hey, that sounds great, but I don't think you really need the $2,000 cotton candy machine. Right.
That's judgy.
Sometimes
everyone needs a $2,000 cotton candy machine.
Not that he bought that during the pandemic. That's a long time ago. But I think sometimes just hearing like, well, hey, tell me more about that. Like, why are you feeling this way? And is it real? Are you telling yourself a story? Or is this really happening in the way that you think it might be happening? And sometimes just unpacking
Hold
something.
on. What? Say that again.
Well, it's like, so if you're in a bad...
Because that's deep. I need to understand that.
Yeah, when you're venting, right? Well, here's what's really happening, right? We're pretty smart people, all of us, right? Everybody on this whole thing. Sometimes you can take a little piece of information and fill in the rest.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you're writing the rest of the chapter.
I'll write the rest of the story. And so sometimes just saying it out loud, right? Just saying, hey, here's what's going on. I'm like, well, is that really what happened or is that what you're assuming?
Yeah.
Like, did you ask that question or did you write the end of your story? So I think a lot of, don't tell yourself a story. That's a big piece.
Read the chapter.
Let it happen and then make a decision. But if you act on a little piece of information by making assumptions, right?
On the rest.
So I think that's one thing that we've learned as business owners too, right?
Yeah.
You got to flush it all the way out and make sure it's real before you act.
Yeah, and play chess, not checkers.
Well,
Man, that's
I don't know
big.
about all that. We still don't know how to play chess.
No.
So if anybody wants to show us.
Y'all don't know how to play chess?
No.
Like for real, for real?
For real.
Oh my God, I love chess. I could teach y'all.
Okay, good. Let's do it.
I think the other thing that's really cool about that whole story is the support that you've given me with all my crazy ideas, because throughout this last year, we've expanded 3 times,
Yeah.
right? We added on a patio with 50 seats, 96 square feet.
Right.
We've added on a bar.
A whole
right?
bar.
An
I
entire
always forget
bar.
about Lucky. I'm like, oh, Lucky Lounge.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
added on another,
Yeah.
that's another 1,500 square feet worth of bar space.
Right.
And now we're adding on 1,200 square feet of a studio,
Right.
which is insane. I mean, the looks that she gives me when I come home and I'm like, hey, so
I'm like,
I've got an idea and I just want to run it by you.
Yeah.
oh, that's my favorite. Usually when it's, okay, hey, so I just want to run it by you. It's already happened. Like, let's be so real on that. So when he's I don't want to say asking for permission, because that's so, he's like, you're the boss. No, I'm not. He does. He works. When you are trying to do something and you come home and say, hey, I want to run this by you, you're literally 99% there. And it's kind of like a CYA, like, ooh, I better let her know before she sees it on the credit card. Like, it's kind of like one of those things. Do you disagree?
I'll plead the fifth. Plead the fifth.
You don't want to put it on video, but that's real.
And we're live. Plead the fifth.
No, so I mean that's been one of the things that has been so amazing, just because we've done so much. And we built that patio internally. We didn't have any contractors for that. We did downstairs internally. We didn't have any contractors for that. I mean, we built all of that out, and it's cool to watch it all come together. And when we got up here, I'm like, no, we're doing contractors. I don't have that in me, because the other spaces are too busy for me to stop.
Well, I think that this was a bigger project than we brothers thought this was going to be.
Yeah.
So,
It absolutely is a much bigger project for sure. But
and thanks for we did all the work downstairs, because I did not do any work. And in fact, Dana, you stained the patio. So
Hey, I did stain the patio.
I'll take the we on it, but that was not me for sure.
the cool part though is when we look at this project, what we're working on right now, which we're sitting in, early stages, drywall and dust and boxes, is this was sparked from inspiration of the pandemic. We did all these amazing date nights. We did all these great cooking classes, and we saw that there was actually a great desire for them. And I think it was recently I had a television network reach out to me and say, hey, we want you to come be a competitor on a TV show. It's going to be a national network. We're really excited. We think you'd be a great personality for it. And Tina was the one that was like, why would you give up your brand?
Hold on. Go ahead, T. Get your shine on. I didn't know that was you. Go ahead. Finish the story.
Well, I would love to hear the rest of how you tell this story, but go ahead.
Go ahead,
I
brother.
love that
Finish the story.
he's
Give
giving me
T
a
the
little
love.
bit.
Give T the love.
Yeah, so, I was excited about it because I'm just excited to compete and be in the spotlight, and I enjoy that part of it. But at the same time, I don't think about the past, right? I'm not thinking about everything I've gone through with other television networks and other television shows. I'm just excited about the now. And the one thing that's cool about this space is it's actually going to create the ability to do exactly what we're doing right now, which is create our own content, distribute our own content. We don't need the cosign but it took Tina saying this to me for me to actually believe it and realize it.
So we talked about that whole communication thing that we've worked on, for 21 years.
Yeah.
We're getting better at it. So
Right.
He very much does get it's excitement, right? Who wouldn't? Like, a TV show reaches out to you and says you want to be, like, there's a natural reaction of excitement. And
Right.
so I'm like, okay, are you thinking about really doing this? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. This wasn't like a one-day conversation. It was the next day, or maybe 3 days later. I let him marinate in that a little, because he has to come to his own conclusion a little bit. So a couple days later, I said, hey, so what are you thinking about this show? And he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I'm like, so why? He's like, like, it's exposure. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have exposure. You have 30,000 people following you on Instagram. Like,
Right.
30, people show up and help and buy kits and do all the things. I said, I don't think you really need this platform, but if you want to do it because you're excited, go do it. I have maybe some wounding around a show called sounds like Schmop Schmef.
Schmop Schmop Schmef.
You did it twice.
Yeah.
That is not fun for a spouse because he's so secluded, right? They take
Right.
him and they put him away for 6 weeks, and there's no internet, there's no phone, there's limited contact.
Yeah.
I said, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's hard on him. It's hard on me.
We've never heard that perspective. Go ahead. Let's dive into that real quick. Because for a wife to be able to, well, obviously he's going to go do his thing, but to be able to support in isolation.
Yeah.
How is that for you?
That was really tough. I mean, we've been together a long time, and it was the first time in our entire relationship that we didn't talk to each other every day.
Oh, wow.
Right. Because, again, when you're sequestered or whatever.
What do they call it? Yeah,
word
whatever.
they use now.
In solitude.
Yeah. He really is isolated. There's no phone. There's no computer. There's no. I don't even think they let you watch the TV. I felt like maybe.
No, it's very controlled.
So every like 3, 4, or 5 days, maybe I would get a call from like a random number, and they would say, "Hey, do you consent to being recorded, etc." And I said, "Yeah." And then they would stand over him for the 2 minutes that they let him talk to me.
Right. Wow.
So I'm a little obnoxious sometimes, and I'm like, should we start talking about something super inappropriate? I'm like, do you want me to watch this gal blush? Like, you can see her. Do you want to put it on FaceTime? Because I'm like, can we just really not have 2 minutes? Like, no one cares about your show right now. Like,
right.
We're trying to have a moment. It was hard. It was a long 6 weeks. Brother did some jailbreaking, found a phone. We had some side conversations later, but that took a couple of weeks to get that kind of off the ground.
Which is hilarious.
And the first time, you went on that show, it was the day after we opened for.
Yeah.
And people hated on you. They were like, you slapped your name on the side of the building, and then you left.
And then you left,
and then you couldn't say anything, right?
Yeah, you couldn't defend yourself.
And so it was hard. I mean, just the no communication piece was really hard, but then also making sure the business was still standing when you came back, right?
Right.
Hey, let me not, shut the bed over here.
Right.
With your business. And actually, we did the highest number of sales that we had done.
Yeah.
And he never beat my sales for those 6 weeks.
Hey, yo, let me get brother's face. Go ahead. Y'all see
I love
this.
that they're her sales.
And also, they are my sales that, even though it was two, gentlemen that held us up, it was Travis and Aaron that were there, and the team, they did a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal.
But since I was the owner at the time, he was, secluded and sequestered. I get that. I get those numbers.
I like to go on record that we have beat those numbers over the years.
Well, yeah, it took a couple years.
Oh.
He got there.
It took me a minute, but you know what? It was just a great realization that, and I like to say this for a lot of people who are trying to stand out with their brands, is you have access to YouTube, you have access to Facebook, you have access to Instagram. There are so many platforms where you can actually do the content yourself. I mean, we're living proof that we can create mics and mixers and webcams and cameras and OBS, and we can learn all of this and screw it up.
Which is why I was like, so why do you need to go on somebody else's TV show, or then they tell him he can't do anything for the next 2 years, and they own his marketing rights, and they try to take so much from you when they put you on TV.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, to kind of bring that back full circle, I was like, you don't need this. The restaurants don't need it by any means. But if you want to do it because it's fun and exciting, then go do it.
And that was the thing. I didn't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
And plus, we were getting ready to sign the deal on this space.
You already did sign the deal on this space.
I had not signed it yet.
Let's get T's face.
I just want you to know he did sign it, and he didn't tell me for like 2 weeks.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
I saw the addendum.
Not until the floor was in the actual lease that was being repaired.
Basically, he handshake the deal already.
I
This
didn't
is
sign it.
that. Let me run
Didn't
something
sign
by
it.
you, T.
But
And then I was like, oh.
she made a good point. She said, you can't focus on upstairs and go do a TV show. That doesn't make sense. But I had no answers for those things, and those are that just truly represents the communication between us when it comes to, you need the balance.
Yeah.
Right? I'm excited about everything. I'm one of those that I just like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. All right. And Tina's like, so are we
Questions.
do we have parachutes? Because I know you want to jump off the cliff.
Right. Or are we gonna be all right?
Well, and I think here's the deal. I support jumping off the cliff, right? I remember when he was going to quit his job. He was, a salaried chef at the time and had always been in the kind of the corporate, world, guaranteed paycheck every 2 weeks.
Right.
And he wanted to open street eats. And he was like, he'd done pop-up dinners and was still trying to do both. And I was like, sometimes you got to let go of one to make the other one successful.
I remember that.
That's
and
good.
I remember unpacking that conversation and being like, if the only thing that's holding you back is fear of failing, then you have to do it.
It's not a good enough reason.
Because, like, okay, you fail, and then what? You pick up your big boy pants and you go get another job. Like, it's not life and death. And he was so undecided. Like, I think you were decided, but just nervous about giving up.
Absolutely.
Kind of that.
I was staring off that cliff, and I had the worst butterflies in my stomach. You couldn't move. You're paralyzed. You're truly paralyzed when you're trying to make that decision. And I mean, the first year was so hard because
I feel like with T, you can go back that far and really be in that space right now.
It
is.
So I was working in a different role in what I do now. So I was in my business suit every day, and I'd be driving across town because it was just brother and our niece Amy, I think, at the time, and me as a part-time server. It's like, it's bad if I have to be in here working. Like, they really need help.
That's hilarious.
So I'm like changing, I'm like whipping my suit off and like changing in the car, driving across town, and then I would stay and serve all night. And then there was a shuffleboard table in there because it was the triple nickel. I remember at like 10:30, I'd lay on that shuffleboard table.
She'd pass out.
I'm like, I can't do anything else. Like, I'm cash. You got to hire people. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It was scary though.
It was
you were scared.
I remember like one of my favorite memories from when we first started all of this was it was after one of those nights, and we went home, and I had a pocket full of cash, and it was like mostly ones.
Oh yeah.
But it was
quarters.
Felt like a good bankroll. And we sat at the kitchen table and we counted out all these 1s and 5s and 10s and 20s. And we made a hot pocket and we split a hot pocket.
Oh my God.
That was the only thing in our house to eat that night. So can you just imagine that? He's cooking all day, and then I come at like 5 or 6 at night, and then I stay till 10. We get home, it's 11 o'clock. There's a hot pocket in the freezer, which was probably there because one of my nieces or nephews or somebody was. We probably had the kids around. I'm like, why would we ever have a hot pocket? We don't eat hot pockets. So we split it, and we had a shot of tequila.
Yep,
and
shot of tequila.
And I think there was only 120 and 110 and 1.5.
That's funny. And the rest is ones.
But we served this great food to everybody all night. Came home and ate a hot pocket.
Yeah, and that was the moment where it was like we made this money.
Yeah,
for us, like that was. And it was only a couple $100. It wasn't much.
It wasn't much, yeah.
And I remember as it progressed and we moved from from this location originally to Street Eats, it was a couple $1,000s. And it was like, I remember thinking, oh my God, we've tripled our money. This is insane.
Hey, also he tripled our expenses when we moved.
So I totally
just
did.
Want to put
There's
that
the balance
out there.
again.
Yeah. Balance.
Sometimes he forgets that piece. I'm like, hey, don't forget rent went up quite a bit.
Yep.
But do you know, like that story reminds me of like when you go into a restaurant and you see people like frame their first dollar.
Yes.
I never really understood that until we opened the first restaurant downstairs.
I still have the first dollar we made here at Lucky Dumpling. It's
Where?
downstairs.
I didn't spend it. You have it really though.
I do. I have it downstairs.
We'll see.
I don't have fours. I wasn't here for fours.
Yeah, you weren't.
No, I think it's important to paint the scene because this what we just described was when Chef took the jump when he first got out of that corporate environment, and he was doing dinners in the back of a punk bar.
Oh yeah.
Like it was a punk rock bar.
Mosh pits.
I think
Mohawks.
that's what we forget about that.
It was so grimy.
Yeah, no, the journey's unbelievable.
As much as we could clean in there, it was so grimy, and it actually got this kind of because he had been at country clubs before, right?
Right.
It got this kind of I don't know how to say it, but like the people would come down like, "Ooh, we went to like a rough neighborhood and had this great meal."
So it was like they got some stripes.
And the beauty is there was such a comfort to what the Triple Nickel was. I mean, it was such a neighborhood bar.
We wouldn't be where we are today without
absolutely not
doing that.
Having that moment
at the Triple Nickel where we shared the space and we'd have people literally sitting at the table eating like foie gras or something. I don't know, something bougie,
Something
right?
bougie.
A $37 steak.
Right.
And then the band would show up and they'd be carrying speakers over our customer's head to
No
set up
on the
for the
stage.
mosh pit, like
No
the bands.
kidding.
Yeah.
And you got to think, this is like probably a band that's been traveling across the country in one van.
Yeah.
All
nasty
together.
dudes.
And
I'm glad you said it because they were nasty.
But it was so raw. I mean, it was the most raw experience. And like when you think about like, I want to start a business, I want to start to create a business. When you write the business plan, it looks nothing like what it actually turns out to be, and that's exactly what it was.
Did you write a business plan?
No, absolutely.
Did
in
you?
culinary school.
In culinary
I was
school.
like,
One day in college.
I remember saying like I did the first budget for 4.
Yeah.
After we were open half a year, I did the budget. In my world, I do a lot of underwriting. I said, here is your budget. Don't go outside of this. We have a 2 signature rule now. If you're going to spend more than $500, we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So he never talked about it. He did exactly what he always does. He runs a business, right? And then I go, Mike, did you even look at the thing? Right?
So to paint the story, to bring it full circle, you're eating, or serving rather, you're eating Hot Pockets, but you're serving this, what do you call it, foie gras or whatever,
Yeah.
this nice,
really upscale,
luxurious
Right.
dinners, grinding from
And they're about to
front
start
to
a mosh pit.
They're
Mosh
about to
pit.
start a mosh pit, and then you guys go home and split a Hot Pocket.
Yeah, that's how it all
Basically.
started.
That's exactly how
8 years ago,
Was it 2013?
2013. Yeah.
I think when the bands would start coming in, you could kind of see the customers were kind of like, everybody's trying to start to look around, like, what is going on? And then they would just start practicing. Like, we would still have people,
Really?
like,
Oh,
wrapping
yeah.
up.
And they will be warming up
So
like they're.
here's us going, like, can we buy you a drink? Like,
Yeah.
here's some dessert.
And you gotta think, like, they were wild too. Like,
Very wild.
one guy would start doing shots, and then his pants would fall down to his ankles, and he'd have no drawers on.
Yeah.
and,
They were a rough crowd.
this was reality.
This is raw.
It was raw.
Yeah.
That's going to be the book, I tell you.
No, and you would never know who was
Mosh
gonna
pits
show up
and
that
foie
night.
gras.
Yeah, because it would be like
That's
there'd be like a burlesque
hilarious.
show, and then there'd be a hip hop band, and then there
Oh my
there was
God.
so many different elements that were
I'm
happening
blushing.
as that performance venue. So we got to experience a lot of different cultures, which
That's hilarious. It's funny because I was with
Genres.
a gentleman, Mike, I believe is his name. He was helping with the porch or the patio, and he was saying that he went to those dinners. He was a part of
Wow.
it, and he was saying that, man, we used to go to in the back of a
our
punk rock, and he was telling me the story, and I'm like, I've never heard this from your point of view.
yeah.
So then he's telling me, and he's like, yeah, man, we would come here and we would never know what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't know the menu
No.
before they got here.
I would
which is an
literally put
important
out
part.
like my advertisement would be like a question mark. That would be the menu. It'd be like just a red question mark.
Yeah,
Are you coming?
what's on the menu
But,
today?
that's how we built it. So to fight for it this last year, it means everything.
It does.
And I think that's been one of the most important parts is we've been through too much to give up. And
I remember you saying that when the pandemic started, when it very, very started, and we were uncertain, and honestly, like what you were describing earlier was like the moment where it was just being announced, fear, and that's what I think that's what I wanted to talk about today was like the pandemic put everybody in fear mode.
Mhm.
But when we were going through that phase when it just started, I remember you saying, I got to keep going. Ain't nobody else going to do it for me.
yeah.
I got to keep going. So many people count on me. I got to keep going. That's what you kept saying to me, like every day that I showed up.
Yeah. I was convincing myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to talk yourself into it, right? Like, that's real.
No,
To
and
say, like, I got to show up every day for my people and for
Yeah.
the team and for the city. And that's heavy. That's a lot.
well, and
It
here's the
is.
thing. We didn't get everything right. I think that's one of the most
No,
important
we never
parts
do
too.
get
We
everything
fell on a lot of areas that we're still learning. I'm still learning every day. I'm still trying to fix every day. I'm still showing up every day. And that's something that
That's powerful. That
That's-
is a message in its own.
you have to show up every day, and I'm trying to fix, and I'm committed. I think that's one of the most important parts when it comes to the business is we're not done. It's not over. We're still trying to, the biggest challenge right now in the restaurant industry is we can't find help.
Yeah.
I mean, people are making a lot of money on unemployment,
Right.
or they went to other industries because this was so unstable.
Right.
It's not worth it. So finding help in the restaurant, and a lot of restaurateurs are struggling right now because, I mean, I'm talking to owners who are washing dishes, who are cooking on the line on Friday nights. They're doing the jobs that, you know, they haven't done in a long time, myself included. I mean, I opened up the restaurant this morning. I was here at 9. I was prepping and making sure that stuff got done. But that's the difference, is like now we're faced with new challenges.
Right.
You know, plus you're still getting all the restrictions and the different guidelines and things that you have to pay attention to ensure safety and security for our staff and also for our community. So it's nonstop, but you know, we didn't get everything right. We're still trying to figure it out.
I'm really glad he said that, because I feel like we only get it right 50% of the time.
Amen.
Right.
And I think that if you're not real about that, then that's where you could really go wrong with other people who look to us to be an example, right? Like, it's good to say, hey, we fell down.
Right.
We fell down. We did not always get it right. We don't always get it right for our teams. We don't always get it right for our customers. Like, there are places where we take those and try to learn and be better.
100%.
I mean, look at our cooking classes, our date nights.
Yeah.
We didn't get the date night right all the time. Sometimes we forgot to put the salt, right? Like, there's places where we definitely fell down. But I think it's what you do with that, right?
Right.
When you fail, you got to like go, okay, well, how will I be better next time?
Right.
And then anticipate that you will fail again.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're getting it right 100% of the time, good for you. But
You
I
gotta
don't
switch
think
your
that's
goals.
real.
Yeah, and it's just being aware. You know, I always think, like, I know I'm going through it and I'm doing a lot of stuff, but then I always think, like, you have your entire career, which is in a completely different industry, and you're problem solving and managing and leading and inspiring and making change in that industry.
Right.
So it's a combination of all of that, where we just are constantly aware to try to tread lightly, but also be supportive and loving and caring.
Right. Kindness goes a long way. And in an environment, like you talked about earlier too, but like when fear is a driving kind of motivator, I mean, you don't know how people are going to react, right?
Right.
I mean, we couldn't get toilet paper. I was cracking up because my sister's out buying toilet paper, 3 times a week, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're fine. There's 2 of us in the house. There's 6 rolls. I remember like the 4th or 5th week, I was like,
then you really can't find none.
Sister, and she like showed up and put some on my door.
Yeah.
Because we weren't even really seeing people in person at that point. People were like, even our family was kind of like, hey, we're gonna stay away. You guys are interacting with the public quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's big, because, and this is more, obviously I'm a small business owner as well, and I went through my own struggles, but this is where, like, for me, it's a bigger topic in terms of like the pandemic, because fear, and I'm going to speak in 2 perspectives. One, which is, this pandemic obviously put fear into everybody's hearts, and fear is so powerful that I believe it literally will put people in the wrong direction for a very long time, and then it takes a lot to come back out of it.
Sure.
So my thing was this, is that with this pandemic, all right, not only did it have fear within, our own individuals, our, jobs and things like that. I was talking to a mother, she works from home, but as a mother as well, it not only put fear in her heart for her kid, for her husband, but it also puts so much more stress on her as a single a mother working from home, to be also a teacher. So like the parents also got a lot of the back end of this whole pandemic. So that's like a side of it that people don't really talk about.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously, you guys are small business owners. You guys don't necessarily have kids. You got the dogs. That's your kids.
I was like, I don't know if we're the right people for this.
No, but it's good for me because, obviously, I'm a single parent.
Sure.
Like, for me, the pandemic was bananas.
Right.
Like, obviously I have, and then I'm also the second side of it was me personally. Like, I was speaking from this mother's point of view, but me personally, like, as, and this is sad, but for real, the people that don't have a family, that maybe in those times, family's the only important thing, and you can't be with them.
Yeah.
That was a very stressful and powerful thing for me to go through, but also other people are going through during the pandemic. So those are the other struggles that I had that I wanted to talk about, because it is a conversation. Like, I'm just be honest, like my sister, and with her working and then her having to help my niece or her daughter, like with school, Like, that is so stressful on my sister. Because first off, I'm gonna joke on my sister because she need to go to school and she ain't got no right teaching my niece. But like, there's parents.
This is on the internet forever.
It's okay. I love my sister. She know I'm joking. But like, there's people like are struggling to help their kids.
Sure.
And today we met with the governor, senator, or whatnot, and he mentioned that like those are the people that are impacted. So the only reason I brought that up was for a couple of reasons. Was obviously we're talking about small business, but there are a lot of other stories of people who are definitely impacted. Obviously everybody's got a story.
Sure.
But remembering that, at least my message that I wanted to leave here today is that remembering that love wins. Like, fear is very powerful. That's the negative, right? But you have to have hope. And I love what you said today, because I believe commitment is above the level of belief. Like, you believe, but when you commit, that's another level. So that's what I'm going to take away, is that, you know, if I could give anybody who's listening today, you know, obviously we're talking about the pandemic and struggling through it and finding a way, is that to keep going, to commit, you know, and focus on the light, because in these dark times, if you're going to focus on dark, you're going to find it. There's a law of polarity. If you can find evil, you can find good.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what, you know, my message to the world would be. And I wanted to say that because obviously we're talking deep here about the pandemic, but like there's a lot of people that, you know, a lot of people, their story aren't being told. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to be, the voice for them people. And obviously, Mama Ness, I got you. You know, she like literally, she vented to me about the things that she goes through. And I was like, for me, dog, I'm a single dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? I teach my son me. I don't even, like, I'm bad. Like, I'm like, look, A, B, C, D. I sing those things. But, like, you're not going to learn that from me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So mothers, they have a different responsibility.
Absolutely.
And they different accountability. And they have different stress levels. So I'm speaking for the mamas, you know, Dana Keith, you know what I'm saying, supporting all the mamas out there. All right, back to.
I think the fear piece, that first piece that you touched on, is so important, because you experience fear first as a person.
Yes.
Right? And then I think as an owner, right? And for me, when the pandemic first started, like, brother has asthma. He has some he's got some conditions where I was like, no, you don't get to go out there. I don't care. And we had to have it out on that. And he's like, I've got to go. I got to show up. And I'm like, you better have a mask and some tape around the mask and like make sure people wash their hands and wash the pins. And I was fearful of just him getting sick.
Right.
And then the news, you know, talked about people dying so often that I was like, this restaurant is not worth you dying. Sorry. Right. So I remember we had to actually, that was like a piece where it was like, you have to be very intentional about going, okay, listen, we have to kind of also be rational, but that's hard to do when the information is not really there for you in the moment. So committing is very important, but I think committing in uncertainty, you have to kind of be okay with uncertainty. Nothing is guaranteed tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's the piece too, like committing in that moment when you're not sure of the outcome, is I think really what you did. Right.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, if there's any last kind of pieces I can share is every morning, get up.
Yeah.
Just get up. You got to get up and start.
And be thankful. You know, we start the day with an accomplishment. Yeah. And I think that accomplishment for us is prayer, and, you know, doing a study. It's helping with a lot of clarity, because as we get tested all day long, there's something to fall back on, something bigger than yourself. So, you know, I really think that's been something that's helpful for me. It's keeping me at a level 6. You know, we were talking about that earlier.
I'm on 15.
I feel like everybody else is on 15, and I'm just trying to stay on a 6. And I like the 6.
0 to 10.
Because I can accelerate, but 6 is a good space for me, because it keeps me very level-headed when it comes to not being responsive emotionally.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can't take ownership of some stuff too, right? But you can be thankful for people who show up, like our customers that showed up every day, the people who tipped extra, right? The people that supported us, and that's why we're here. Like, if nothing else, get out of bed and like hey, I'm alive today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just being thankful for that. I think that's a perspective or a mindset, right?
Right.
And that can help maybe counterbalance some of the fear stuff too.
Yeah, 100%. Like your attitude, you know, that has a lot to play with it. I'm going to just tell you, like, personally, like, something that I took on during the pandemic was running. And that's hilarious. T almost she laughing at me, but I was running. And,
I'm not laughing
oh,
at you.
all right, this is funny because we're gonna bring it full circle. So if you ever see brother running, you better run.
Yeah, because I always said, and you keep stealing my joke. Stop stealing my jokes. I always tell everybody, if you see me running, you should run. Something is wrong. I'm not running for exercise.
No, Tina
or
pulls
mental
up on
health.
people on the side of the road, and she's like, "Who's chasing you?"
That's hilarious.
Are you okay? Why are you running? And then brother started stealing my jokes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I gotta give you a hard time
I
because
think it's hilarious.
T said you steal all the good jokes, and I was like, oh, he did say that to me the other day. That was funny. She was like, yeah, that was my joke.
And then he tries to tell me, well, I saw it on TikTok. Well, you heard it here first. Then you saw it on TikTok.
No, I love it. Well, one of the things that I think is really important is this whole thing is coming together, right? We're sharing the whole journey of building this business, and I think it's cool to get the background story, or at least a glimpse of it, from what Tina and I have been through, what Dana and I have done over the years, and now to actually have the footage of this space coming together, because each week something else is being done. Pretty soon we're going to be cooking in here. Pretty soon we're going to be pouring wine in here. We're going to be having guests show up and do artistic things and entertain. So this is going to be a really cool space. This is where we're going to bring back the cooking classes. The cooking classes are coming back. We're going to be able to do them in a much more professional area than me unscrewing light bulbs in our kitchen.
And you never screwed it back in also.
I never screwed the light bulb
So the light
back
bulb is still, and I can't reach it, right? So he stands on like a 2-step ladder and he's on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm 5'2". I have to put the ladder on the countertop to reach that. So stop it.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really cool space. We're so excited to bring this to Colorado Springs. Nothing like this exists.
Nothing.
We're gonna have some really, really unique dinners in here, and it's all coming together. So you are getting the live footage of what's happening above Lucky Dumpling in the studio. This is myself, Brother Luck, Dana Keith, and our guest, Tina Luck, a.k.a. T, a.k.a. The Brains, a.k.a. the boss and the beauty.
And the boss
You know
and the
what's funny?
beauty.
It's so like I tease a lot about like these date nights.
Yeah.
Right? And now he's like, well, we're going to do them from the studio. I'm like, well, am I still invited? Like, am I like, do you
Yeah,
still
of
need
course.
me? So
Yeah.
I talk all this crap, right? But I really do like to be involved. And
She
I think it
loves
has been
them.
really fun. And honestly, like when I'm producing, and Dana, you know this,
Yeah.
we get to eat the food at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's like, you're winning.
Win-win.
Yeah. And the nice part is we have a full production kitchen downstairs. So it's going to give us the resources we need to pull off a lot of this stuff, but also not to have to set up the equipment mobile. I mean, it's going to be like set up so it's always done.
I
think it's- I
don't
think
know
it's
if
still-
we're buying all that equipment to set it up.
Yeah.
You might have to set it up.
Look. I'll set it up. Y'all got to buy it. All right.
Yeah, I'll buy it, but we're not keeping permanent stuff in here. You're crazy.
Why not?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it.
All right, we'll talk about it. So
talk
look,
about it.
I always want to do this. I always want to give our guests something to take away for the week. Something positive. Something that whether it be a tip or something valuable that they could apply to their lives. So what's something that you want to give to the audience? Obviously, we talked about today more of like the perseverance through the pandemic. I know you said get up every morning, but give them something they can take away here today,
I love
brother.
that. One of the things I want to just encourage you to do something nice for somebody else. Do something that is selfless. Volunteer some time, donate a service, help somebody out. I got to experience that this week on Saturday, and it's really encouraged me
It was dope.
to do the same. So pay it forward.
I like that a lot. T, what you got for us?
Oh, I would piggyback on that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Anytime you can do something for somebody else, that's actually serving you more than it is probably them. I don't know if people know that, but having kind of a service attitude and being thankful, I think it's so simple, right? When you say it, but like
It
to
is.
apply that,
Yeah.
I think that really puts you in a mindset that is very positive. So I
Yeah.
think do something for somebody else, be selfless, and be thankful.
I like that a lot. And I'm going to go the opposite way, which I was talking about running earlier. That's like good for my mental health.
It's self-care.
So that's what I was just going to say
Yeah.
is, self-care, this week, do something for you, whatever that is. And, that's my message because during the pandemic, I think that that's one of those things that really helped me get through it was doing the running.
Smart.
It was the self-love, I was testing myself.
Yeah,
So
it's the easiest thing to sacrifice first.
It's so funny because we literally had this conversation yesterday about self-care and how sometimes we go at a pace that's so fast that there's no time for that.
Yes.
And then both of us are like, do something for somebody else.
Right. That's
hilarious.
hilarious.
You know what? We're going to also do something for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
you
we should
guys
have a
take
date
my
night.
Now, if there's a cooking class that goes on sale all of a sudden for a date night, I'm going to be like,
That
really?
is the best. All right, guys, look,
Thank
this
you.
has been awesome. T, I want to first say this. Thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Having you on here
Silly.
gives such a different flavor that I think that the fans and the people that support Brother, they really, really enjoy your presence.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for coming up here. Obviously, at 6:13 we started. We're a little bit behind
I
the
was
schedule,
like-
but I'm thankful.
I'm thankful. Thank you. Thanks for
you know
having
what?
me. You know I don't get in front of the camera, so
You know
that
you
was a lot
don't.
for me. I was like,
And
wait.
you know, I got to get you a good camera because this is the episode where I'm like, yo, T's camera versus your camera, it's such a difference.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I do want to say something real quick. We are live on streaming platforms for audio. We're on Spotify, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Anchor Breaker. We're almost to iTunes. It just has to get approved for a few more days. So we have 2 episodes. We'll load this episode up there. But we are thankful for y'all support, first and foremost. We're thankful that you guys listen to us. We're thankful for the feedback. I've been getting extraordinary feedback from the people who listen. I'll be curious to see, like, you know, the kind of feedback you're getting. But this has been incredible. A great episode, if I don't mind saying. But thank you. So,
thank
you know,
you
if you guys could give us some like, comment, subscribe. We're going to go around. Tina, you got some social media you want to throw up here? I am official Dana Keith. Find me on Instagram, Dana Keith everywhere. Brother Luck.
I'm at Chef Brother Luck across the board. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the above.
All right, and T, where you at?
I'm Tina. I live in Colorado Springs.
And we thank you so much for being here. All right, y'all. We're
Appreciate
out.
y'all.
Peace. The man behind the hustle and grind. This is pride, courage, determination, and perseverance. Welcome to No Luck's Given.